This church does a lot. You would be shocked at how many things that this church does, even in comparison to larger groups. And we want to take that into even another level of growth and another level of ministry, because we intend to do a whole lot more. Amen? Amen. We are not satisfied with where we are. One of the things that we did, we are so proud of, is that we actually had a person and her daughter who went on a missionary trip to Africa. Sister Adams is coming right now, and I'd like for Olivia and Macinda to come, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about it.
They went on a mission trip this summer to Africa, and so I'm just going to ask them a few questions. So lots of us have asked some questions in the back, but I just want them to share some of the things that they've done. And one of the first thing I want you to explain is where exactly you went, because Africa's a pretty big place, and I don't think everybody knows exactly where you went.
We went to Ghana, West Africa, which is on the coast of Guinea, I believe. And we were down in the south of Ghana first into Accra. And then we were there for 2 weeks, and then we went north for 2 weeks up to Bogotanga, which is almost up to the next country in the Sahara Desert. So we were in the humidity and then the hot heat.
And she said it was really, really hot there. And so
It's their cool season.
And it was their cool season. So what exactly was your purpose on this mission trip? So what did you go to do? A lot of people that you hear, other groups that go, they're going to build a church, or they're going to help at a school, or they're delivering gifts, or they're doing those kind of things. So exactly what was your purpose in going?
Our purpose was kind of extensive. My sister lived there for 10 years, and so she worked at a Bible college. So first we went there to help decorate the Pastor's Resource Center. So we did some painting and organizing of books and labeling books. Then when we went north, we did children's services. My sister is building missionary huts for a mission conference, kind of 6 huts that will house missionary teams. And so Livy worked on
painting the trim and then the windows, and I also played with like the kids and everything. It took photos.
And I basically sat there and smiled because it was so difficult. You would have our first service. I thought every day we had 12 kids that came, and I would thought that.
Now, when you say you had 12 kids to come, were you in school, church? What were you doing exactly? Or you were just decorating, and all
no,
these kids came with?
This is when we went up north to my sister's property. We were working outside, so I am preparing for the children's service that's going to be the next week, and all of a sudden these little kids come out of the bush, and they'll be like nobody, and then they'll just start coming. And there was 12 of them that came every day, and ended up making really good friends with them, and they were my sister's neighbors. But then when we went to do the children's service, I thought, I can do this. 12 kids, no big deal. So I get there, and there's got to be 20 already. And in America, children, you got to go like this with them, really fast. In Africa, all these children, they've arranged themselves on benches that they made out of bricks and out of pieces of logs. And I'm going, they're staring at me. And everywhere you go, they watch you. Every little thing. You raise your hand, their heads go. So that they kept coming and ended up having 79 that day.
So this was in a church service that you had 79?
No, this was out in the property, just in the bush.
Just in the bush, okay.
And only a couple of them speak English. Most of them speak Fra up there. So communication was iffy.
Okay, and so are these children that are just bush children, or where do they come from? I mean,
they actually are bush children. Most of them are pagan. Most of them come from polygamous pagan houses.
Explain exactly what that is.
They believe in the witch doctors. They have the juju man that they go to. So they're not well taken care of. Very little food, no health care. I couldn't touch any of them because they had scabies and head lice and other diseases, and most of them seemed very sick. But if they were Christians, we had one family that lived across the road who was Christians, and they believe in health care. And those kids I could touch. They're very clean. Same place, just the difference in the pagan lifestyle versus the Christian lifestyle.
So as part of your sister's ministry is to help to these children, or just is it just you just have that opportunity? You really can't, different countries, different mission trips. Sometimes my son went to a place where they had what they called garbage children, or children that actually lived in the dump. Even the country did not recognize these children as citizens of their country. They were garbage children, as you say. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, they lived in
Yeah.
the garbage. So are these children that you can touch their lives, that you can make a difference in, or is the only difference you can tell them about Jesus, or are you not allowed to tell them about Jesus? What do you do? Are you allowed to teach them about Jesus Christ?
Yes, all of the parents just absolutely love it when we come and talk to the kids and teach them. And many of the kids go back and teach their parents. And we have one right now who, I won't say everything that he's into, but he worked with Brother Joshua in the huts every day. And stuff he's into is not good. And he would sit there and listen as we were teaching the children. 4 of them were his. And by the end of the 2 weeks, he was considering going back to church and giving his life to God.
So as part of the mission place that you went to help, they also have a church and an actual ministry there, or were you joining in with someone else's ministry?
My sister's ministry is there on the property. So I was
Does that
basically
involve
there.
a church also, or is that
No.
just, what is her ministry
She's
involved
affiliated
exactly?
with a bunch of different churches.
Okay.
All the churches that are up in Bolga that we worked with went to her Bible college. And so she knew them as young children growing up and becoming pastors. So their churches are there. David
so your
and
sister
Elijah's.
has a Bible
They
college.
had a Bible
Had a
college,
Bible
yes.
college. And so these huts that your sister are building, out of curiosity, these are for other missionaries that are going to come into Africa to help the community. That's what she's building them for.
Mission
So,
teams. So
Mission
anybody,
teams.
any denomination, as long as they're Christian based, may use these. And then they will be, whatever the mission is, if it's a medical team, if it's a children's, if it's to go out and help clean water, whatever, they can use these homes.
and then you also shared with us in the back about you were at all times with an interpreter and a guide, or I kind of interpreted a bodyguard almost. And so exactly, is this every time that somebody goes in that this is a hostile environment that you're going into, a hostile country? Is it hostile towards just the Christian, just white people in general, or different nationalities, not just white? But why do you, obviously because you didn't speak their language, you need an interpreter. But why did you need them all the time? And then share with us too the one experience when you had your chance to get rid of Olivia, but you didn't.
Her favorite moment. Actually, Christians is fine there. Even the Muslims, they're very nice, very kind. No problem being a Christian there in Ghana. Very, very many churches. Not all good, a lot of corrupt, but fine. But what we have, being women and being alone, being blonde and white, you get mauled. Everybody will just come around you. And they just, like I said, they stare at you and they want to touch you. And then the men will try to take your young, beautiful daughter. So the experience she's talking about is we were at a bank, and everywhere you go, there's armed guards because there's a lot of thieving and a lot of robbery, and that's the other thing. Joshua was there to help us so that we didn't get stolen from. But we went to a bank, and there's 2 police officers, not guards, with large guns, mind you, like this. And we're happy to see them. We go up, we get our money. I have to be careful because I have fallen so many times. So my sister and Olivia is walking back to the car, and Joshua is not with us. We're with a taxi driver, but he did not come up with us. And Olivia's walking really fast, and I don't know what's wrong with her. So I get down the steps, and this police officer says, ma'am, your niece. I said, no, my daughter. I said, what? He goes, give her to me. I said, no, I will not give you my daughter. He goes, why will you not give me your daughter? I want your daughter. I said, no, she is my daughter, my baby. She is not a baby. She is a woman. I said, not in America. In America, she is 15 and she's my baby. No, you may not have my daughter. So at this point, I didn't know that you don't have to respect police officers there. In America, if a cop stopped you with a gun, you're going to stop and talk to them. So I still don't know this. So I turn around. I'm like, if he's going to shoot me, he's going to shoot me in the back because he's not getting my daughter and I'm going home. So I turn around and walk away. And then Livy can tell you why I got really angry when I got to the car.
Okay, well, he grabbed my arm, and I had a really bad sunburn on this side of myself. And he hit that sunburn, and so I was already hurting. So then when he grabbed it, it was even worse. And then, but you know what's sad about that is, like, there's actually 15-year-old girls with, like, old men married because their fathers give them away. And it's like, you'll see little kids that have this 80-year-old father, and they're newborn, and it's heartbreaking.
So what did you take away from your experience? Your mom's told us lots about what she did. I mean, you went to a brand new culture where very primitive in a lot of ways, and you saw a lot of things that you'd never probably see here. So what did you take away from what you learned or what you saw there?
We are very privileged. Like, internet, that's a big thing. You're like used to going to restaurants and you get like free internet, or like most homes will have internet. And like just phone, like where you can call people, and you're lucky there if to get like 20 minutes of internet. So when you get here and you have electricity and internet and all that, you're just very thankful. And then lifestyles, like the homes, we have air conditioning, carpet, everything like that, and they don't have any of that. They have mud floors, and it's normal. And then they have to deal with flies a lot. Like, they're so used to it that the flies will be on the kids' like face, and you don't even see them flinch or anything. And you just realize how clean and like privileged we are. And when you come back from Africa, you're completely different. Like, you take everything in a different way, and it's just life-changing, everything.
So it sounds like all the teenagers should go there.
Yeah. I agree.
Appreciate what they have. And it's us adults, too. So that's really interesting from your perspective that I think that we see the commercials and things, and we see these kids, and you see the flies on them and stuff, as you mentioned, and a lot of us are like, oh, they're just letting that happen. But a lot of poverty there, and especially for the children that can't take care of themselves. So what do you bring home with you? And how can our church, even though we're small, how can we help? How can we get involved? What can you guys, because you're leading the way for our church to be involved in missions. I think if you're a Christian, you have a heart for missions. I don't think everybody wants to be on a mission trip or wants to be a missionary, but I think God gives you a heart and a compassion for ministry. And so I know that lots of people here would like to say, hey, how exactly would we get involved with maybe helping the people that there that are ministering on an everyday basis? What can we get involved with to help with?
I have been asking myself that question since I got to Africa and been home. Besides prayer, they need so much that without God, it's going to be impossible. So you have to empower the pastors and the people that are teaching there. The way you empower them, obviously financial support, but even that, as it comes in, they use it so quick that they're always needing it. You can never give enough. So I would say prayer, sending missionaries. I've always been raised in a mission home, in mission churches, but I myself never supported missions very well other than prayer, which I feel very bad for now, because that's what they need. They need you to come. They need you to sit beside the children. They need you to talk to the adults. I had no idea that I was going to be talking to pastors, and they have no view, a really bad view of what America is. And they ask, why do not missionaries come anymore? And I said, America's bad. So they need missionaries. They really do. He said, nobody comes. In the town that we were up north, there's 2. And that's a big town. It's not just a little town. I'm talking the north. There's 2 people. Or 2.
So that being said, so you're going to try to go back in 3 years. You
Yes.
shared that vision. Not everybody can go for a month. I mean, for as long as you went. I think you were gone, a month, 6 weeks. But what about lots of small churches and stuff? I know lots of people that say, hey, I would like to go there for a week or 2 weeks. I could do that. I could save for that. And most of them want to go with a purpose, like to help build a church, or if they have carpentry skills, or they have medical skills or something like that. How could you lead a team? Could you lead a team to get ready in 3 years to accompany you with your sister or whatever, to bring a team from our church, or even extend it out a little bit beyond our church? If people wanted to go and said, hey, I've never had the opportunity, but I want this opportunity, what can you do to maybe help someone, like if, say, I wanted to go, which, after hearing about it, I don't know, I'm a lot afraid about it. I don't know, I'm weak. That sounds like strong stuff. But like maybe if my daughter Sydney or Skylar, he's been wanting to go, and his church, his isn't falling at the time he could go. What could you do to get some people that are interested in going and being a part of it, say for 2 weeks or something like that? What could you do to help set us up for a success in that?
Well, I can find you places to stay, and I know where the good places to eat so you don't go hungry. But
Could you lead us there, though?
I could lead you
it?
there. I could lead you there. I could lead you through the airports. I could lead you through the towns now. But everybody would have to bring their own talent because there's so much. Like on my sister's property alone, we need masons. We need carpenters. We need people who know how to do foundations. We need gardening. Then there's people who could go work with the children that are there and medically. They don't need haircuts. A little girl knows how to find a razor and shave her hair just fine. As she found a dirty one laying on the ground, and I reached over and caught her. So you would teach the children. The pastors, they would love to have someone come and sit down with them and teach them ways of ministering to people and how to do outreach.
Does anybody have a question?
Did they have indoor toilets at all, or you?
Depends on where you were. You went to the restroom before you left your place because the places we actually stayed in did, but where we went to visit did not.
I would like to know how you did your laundry.
We stayed with Mama Jane, and she is a very well-off lady. And so she has a washer machine that is not hooked up to water because she doesn't think it needs to be. So you have to go with a bucket, which Olivia did, and we even had help with Christian. And you fill up the buckets, and it takes 3 to fill the washer. And then you put your soap in and your clothes in, and you let it run through its cycle. Sometimes you have to run it 3-4 times, depending. I taught Mama Jane how to use the spinner, which she calls a dryer, and she says it's a waste of time. Don't do. So I did it anyway. So I put the clothes, you take them out of the soapy water, put them into the spinner, drain the soapy water out, bring new water in, rinse them, spin them, and then redo it. Well, we needed to go to Mama Jane's school, and so she said, Mama Jane's going to teach you to do laundry. I said, oh, yay. So we're outside. You're in the sun. She gets buckets. She lets me use the washer to wash, but I find that I am not going to change the water anymore. I'm going to just wash them with the same water, starting with the lightest to the darkest. And so then I spin. She won't let me spin them even. So I hand them down to Mama Jane, and she's rinsing them in one bucket and then in the other. So Livy joins in, I join in. And then I said, I'm going to spin them because they will never dry. So I dry them, and we had 8 loads. The first time I did laundry, I think it took us 4 hours. The second time I did laundry with Mama Jane, African way is quick. We were done within an hour. Those clothes were washed, dried, and on the hangers to dry. But we were soaked from head to toe. It was very painstaking, back aching, hard work to wash laundry in Africa with a washer machine.
I got time for 2 more. Anybody? Yes, right here.
I just wondered, did you have like Sunday services there? And how did they compare to the services we have here in the United States?
So in the South, it's a church, it's a building. It's pretty much like this, other than they dance, and they allow them to dance, and they encourage them to because they don't want them going to the bars and stuff to dance. In the North,
Baby goats like everywhere. They'll be underneath your chairs, but you can pet them, and they're super cute. So, I mean, you have the donkeys like almost charging at you from the bush as like you're trying to do it, and then you'll see somebody has to go out there, and then they'll have to like shoo the donkeys, and then there's like they're like trying to get them away, and then the chickens are just everywhere. One baby goat just like during youth service, it was youth? Okay. So the baby goat came into the middle of like where we were and just started peeing. And then they had to like shoo him away, and then they kept trying to do that. They were like biting our bags that were on chairs. It was so cute though.
and the lizards are everywhere, but they end up being your friends.
There we go. Hey, can we give them a big hand? Well, it just shows you that I think God is ministering and is using you. You know, you're the church. Everywhere you go, you're a missionary. Whether it's in your apartment complex, whether it's in your neighborhood, whether it's at your job. You know, I tell you, I haven't had these conversations with Gary, I should say, but my guess is the same. But I know with Pam, how many times she's witnessed to people, you know, and talked to people about various things. And it's unique how that you can actually do that. I remember my father-in-law, Nate, he owned a business, first placement organization. He always considered it his mission, his ministry, you know, helping people to find jobs and helping to people to improve their lives. It was not just a secular business, and yours isn't either. We're so proud of Olivia and Macinda, and I hope that that will inspire us to do more, to somehow say, Lord, here am I, use me, you know, send me, let me make a difference.